Hi, so in this video we're going to talk about creating titles for your Kindle book. So the title, fairly obvious is what's going to appear here and hyperlinked either on the Kindle device or on, Amazon's website or however people are finding your books. So there's a couple different things to think about when you're thinking about creating your title. First thing is you need to figure out what you're trying to do with this book, what your goal is. If you want to, achieve some fast and solid rankings in Google, for example, you want some good SEO results with your book, then creating a title that has the keyword at the beginning is very important. For example, I just scrolled down here and found this book. Find it again real quick, right here. Uncle Garfield's Garfunkel's Winning Twinnings Rhyme and Reason Quiz Book 2. I have no idea what this is, but I want to show you something because it's got an exceptionally long title. And so if you're trying to get SEO results, one good thing is having your keyword in the title tag, which is right here. I have this popped up right here. As you can see, it's all sort of in there, but there's a link that which gets cut off in the actual results on Google. So having it at the beginning is going to make sure that it's in there. Ideally, your title tag is actually not any longer. So having an extremely long title like this is not necessarily going to be the best thing for Google SEO results. Another thing is that it gets cut off here in the URL, which is another factor as far as how you rank on Google, is basically having the exact keywords in the URL. So say for example, if your keyword was Rhyme and Reason Quiz Book. As you can see up here, all of that basically got cut off. You got reason. Then Amazon throws in ebook, and then the rest of your ASIN and that kind of thing. But basically the rest of it all got cut off. So if you were trying to rank organically in Google for Rhyme and Reason Quiz Book, you would want that to be at the beginning and all the rest of the stuff to be afterwards, and preferably the title not to be so long and contain all the rest of that stuff. On the other hand, if you're basically just trying to sell a lot of Kindle books within Amazon, then your title is purely there to basically sell your book. I wouldn't worry about stuffing any sort of keywords in there because basically what I've proven through different studies and different products that I've sold, and for a few products I couldn't include the title and the keyword because Amazon was sort of on the fence about whether or not it wanted the product in their store at all. But basically was playing around with some things and was able to get products ranked for the keyword that I wanted to get ranked for without having it anywhere in the title whatsoever. Basically included it in product description, got people to include it in reviews and tags and that sort of thing, but didn't include it in the title at all. It didn't seem to make any sort of difference whatsoever. Amazon is an e-commerce engine, and all they're basically doing, unlike Google, is saying, okay, we found that this book is related to this keyword. Past that, it doesn't really matter if it's in the title or if it's in the put a description or that kind of thing. You can get things ranked for whatever you want regardless. So what you want to do is create a title that really sells. Now that's a sort of big statement, but we're just going to go through some examples here because I don't have any perfect answers, but I can show you some basic principles that'll make your titles a lot better and help them sell a lot better. First thing is, I'm looking right here at the category bestsellers in puzzles and games. So what you'll note here is all but except this one really have fairly short titles. But it's pretty easy to figure out what these are about. These are all games. Hamster habitat. Hamster is obviously something that runs around in a wheel. It's a puzzle book. Okay, that's pretty easy to figure out. Jigsaw words volume. Definitely easy to figure out what that is about. Puzzle book. 102 puzzle quizzes. Now this one's very straightforward too. Angry Birds game. It went ahead and threw the keywords in there at the beginning. But then it has a huge long subtitle, which is fine if they want to include that in here, but it obviously gets cut off here. And I'm going to jump over to the snapshot I took of the actual Kindle device and show you that these long titles get cut off here too. This is a different page, but if you see down here, they all get cut off here too, so nobody's really going to see the rest. But having these short, sort of punchy titles, as long as they make sense, is a good idea. For example, vintage cookie recipes. It's very easy to figure out what that's about. It's not, you know exactly what it's about. It's short. It definitely stands out. If you just look at this page, this one stands out actually because it's shorter. These long titles tend to run together and don't tend to look as good, and you don't need them for keywords. So keeping your title short and to the point is a good idea, but you want people to know what they're about. For example, this infinitely more. You would need to know who this author is and that kind of thing to sort of figure out what this is. I think this is a fiction book, so that's not going to be as good, because if you're just trying to capture random people searching through categories and keywords, it's not going to be as easy to capture those people with a title like this. But on the other hand, if this is an author that people are familiar with and they're specifically looking for this author, then it's perfectly fine. So scrolling down here, we see more short titles that sort of are really short and to the point. Sudoku works. Pixel perfect puzzles. These kind of titles work really well. Tic-tac-toe, you can't get much more simpler than that. So basically what I'm just showing here is these short, nice titles that really sort of describe what the book is about is going to generally be the way to go, but you want to make sure you're not trying to be too clever. You want to make sure that you're basically delivering a title that tells people exactly what it's about. And if you do want to get extra clever with your title, make that part fairly short and add a subtitle, even if it runs on a little bit. For example, that Running Sucks book, let me just pull that up here again. This is, going to be the most redundant example you'll see in this training course, but anyways, it just pops in my head all the time, so I'm going to pull it up. So you can see here that if all it said was Running Sucks and didn't say anything else, there was no subtitle, you would have no idea really what this book is about. I mean, is there somebody that hates running? Is it a book on running? Is it, who knows? Could be a book about, running, sort of metaphorically in your life and that kind of thing. Could be a self-improvement kind of thing. But this thing needed a sort of subtitle to explain what this huge, big statement here was. How to run for fast weight loss for busy women who hate running. So it really drilled down on the target market with that. And it wasn't too long that it started running over and that kind of thing. So this is a example of when you might want to use a subtitle. If you want to go with a big, bold statement like this, you're going to need something to back it up, or else other people are just not going to have any idea what your book is about. So then I'm going to jump over here to this different category, religion and spirituality. Here you'll see a few different examples. These tend to be longer. Holy Bible. If that's all it was, then people would, not really have any sort of substantiation. They wouldn't know exactly what it was, but this one tells what version it is. This is another one, Know Your Bible. That's another thing where it's sort of borderline whether or not it needs a subtitle to explain what it is, but it does, and it sounds kind of nice. All 66 books explained and applied. So in that case, it's, not necessarily needed. Not saying it's going to do better or worse with just Know Your Bible, but I'm just trying to give you some examples because it's really going to depend on your specific niche and your competitors and what you want your title to be. Because as long as you have something that clearly defines what your book is and draws people's attention, but don't try to be too clever that they have no idea what your book is about, then you're pretty much going to be good as far as creating a title. Like I said, you've sort of taken the having to keyword stuff in there out the window because you don't really need it unless you're trying to specifically rank for that keyword in Google. If that's the case, that's probably going to be the only thing you're going to want in your title realistically. If you do have other stuff in your title, you're going to want it there at the beginning.